What do you do with the man without fear? By putting the fear in him. Welcome back, everybody. Matt the Man here. Hope you're doing well. So Daredevil, Born Again, finally came out. We just had the season finale this week, and I wanted to do a review on it. I'm a huge fan of the Daredevil property, all the way back to 2003 with the Ben Affleck, Jennifer Gardner, Michael Clark Duncan, Colin Farrell, and John Favreau, a Daredevil movie. I remember seeing that in theaters back in 2003. It came out on Valentine's Day weekend. I remember, I saw it. And then back in, I want to say in high school, I dressed up as Daredevil for Halloween. Netflix got the rights to Daredevil and a bunch of other comic book properties, and they did their own Daredevil TV series that ran from 2015 to I want to say 2018. I think they had like a year in between of nothing. And funny enough, just about a week ago was the 10th anniversary of when the Daredevil Netflix Season 1 premiered. So, timing. The new season ends on the same week that the first season premiered 10 years ago. Coincidence? I think not. And that Daredevil show on Netflix was brilliant. I mean, I don't think anyone could argue that was the best comic book TV series ever. Yeah, we have Smallville. I'm a huge fan of Smallville, The Flash, Arrow, Heroes, and so on and so forth. But those first 3 seasons of Daredevil was not only the most R-rated material at the time for a comic book franchise, but it was well acted. The action choreography was out of this world. When we thought, oh man, they're never going to find a better Kingpin than the late Michael Clark Duncan, and then we got Vincent D'Onofrio, and now nobody can see Kingpin other than Vincent D'Onofrio. Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil, excellent. The supporting cast, who would have ever thought the kid from the Mighty Ducks, Fuller, would then play Foggy Nelson in Daredevil? Never. Avocados at large. And then, after 3 seasons, Daredevil, Netflix pulled the plug, and it was like, what are you doing? This is the best thing you have on your streaming platform, other than at the time, House of Cards. What are you doing? And then Disney bought it, got the rights back to Daredevil, and we were all worried. Like, oh no, they're in a PG-13 this stuff to go with their MCU Marvel movies. They're not going to have the same, level of the Netflix series. What are they doing? And then we get Daredevil Born Again. And I have to say, Marvel, Disney, you made me proud. I can finally say, this has been the best material that Marvel has done since Endgame. And I'm not just talking about the TV. I'm not talking about their Disney Plus Marvel series, like WandaVision, or She-Hulk, or like I felt all along, or The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. No, I'm talking about movies and TV combined since Endgame. This is the best thing that Marvel has put out. It is R-rated to the highest level. The stuff that we see in this show, I was like, wow, Marvel, you created something on the same level as Netflix. And whether it's the opening between Daredevil and Bullseye, I'm so glad they brought Point Dexter back from the third season. That fight on the roof between Daredevil and Bullseye was so violent, so visual, and just so what Daredevil / Matt Murdock does in that scene is just throwing him off the roof and hoping he dies. I mean, that was the intent. Kill him. Then there's so many other scenes with Muse fighting Daredevil, whether in the underground train station, train alley, or in the apartment of the psychiatrist that Matt Murdock is banging on the side. The violence is just... And then the season finale episode with Kingpin. They have never done anything like that, even on the Netflix show. Even on the Netflix show. What Kingpin does to that guy and how they showed that entire thing happen. I was like, now that's the Kingpin we all love. Cox, I love that his character in this season is basically giving up being Daredevil. Yes, we see that in a lot of comic book movies. For some reason, by the second film, after the whole first movie, they've been wanting to be that superhero. But then by the second movie, I don't want to be that superhero anymore. No more. You've only been that superhero for what, a minute? I know, but I don't want to be the superhero anymore. I want to go home and rethink my life. But this one, we really understand why, after that first episode, he gives up being Daredevil. And just the journey of him going slowly becoming Daredevil again, I thought was great. The psychological toll of what happened in that first episode really paves the way for the season. Also, I love the mirroring of Kingpin's becoming mayor and rising and trying to be good and nice. And then slowly as the season goes along, getting back to that Kingpin we know from the Netflix series. Well, here's like that mirroring of two people, and even how they edit and transition between one and the other in scenes. You can see this arc between both of them, where they're both the same, but one's good and one's bad. And I thought that was really great. Like I said, Vincent D'Onofrio. He hasn't lost anything. He's still Kingpin. And I'm glad they got back to that. The scene with Frank Castle and Matt Murdock in like the third or fourth episode is the dialogue between these two characters. They're not fighting, they're just talking. It's some of the best dialogue I have seen since Endgame. These two people talking about Frank Castle telling him, what about your friend? Was that the right decision? Did you do, it's not your fault. What happened to him was not your fault. And I was just like, whoa. This is like Goodwill Hunting shit. Matt Damon, hey, another Matt. Matt Murdock, Matt Damon, Matt. It must be a thing. the scene with Matt Damon and Will Hunting and Robin Williams, when they're saying, it's not your fault, kid. It's not your fault. And they, oh, I know, no. It's not your fault. And I'm watching this going, this is a fucking Marvel show. We're going deep with this shit. And it kind of reminded me of something else I'm not going to go into here, on a personal level. But, so, like I said, they have a lot of great character moments throughout this season. Even near the end of the season finale, when Karen and Matt are talking, I'm like, yes. Some of my negatives. We needed more Muse. He looked like he was going to be set up as this major villain this season. And he's only really in like 2 episodes. I wanted to see more Muse. I wanted to meet a Muse with Muse. And I wasn't. Also, a lot of people don't know, they originally shot 18 episodes. But then Kevin Feige looked at it and said, no! We are not going back to the shit that we've been doing since Endgame. No more shit. We need to get back to greatness, which was Marvel, before Endgame. And so they scrapped half the season, or more than half, and went back and shot like almost a full season's worth of episodes. That's why it was delayed a whole year. That's something common with Disney lately. Snow White had to go back and reshoot half the movie. Daredevil. What's going on, Disney? But the problem is, since this is only 9 episodes, there's no resolution. That's why they've already been shooting season 2, even when this season started. So that way it would come out. For all we know, they can decide to bring this out, season 2, by the end of the year. It's possible. So the season doesn't end on any conclusion, any resolution, any real arc, any finality on anything. Everything is still left open. So that was a little bit of a bummer. You have 9 episodes and you don't somehow conclude with some sort of conclusion. I think we needed more of Karen. Karen Page isn't in this that much. And Frank Castle. He's only really in 2 scenes in this whole 9 episodes. I wanted to see more of Karen Page. He's definitely one of those characters that is like integral to Matt Murdock. And for her to not be in it that much was very disappointing. Because when they are together, you just have that connection, that chemistry. And then there's an episode, the bank heist episode. Now that episode felt like that was from the original season that they shot. Because it felt like a one and done episode. And to me it just felt out of place with everything else throughout the season. I mean, not a horrible episode, but like I said, it felt completely out of place from everything else. So I'm looking forward to Daredevil Season 2, Born Again. I'm hoping that whether it comes out by next March, or we gotta wait, maybe it will come out by the end of the year. I don't know. We'll see. But did you watch Daredevil Born Again? Did you like it? Were you a fan? Let me know in the comments below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. Matt the Matt.